Figuring out Sue, take one.
So tell me about your favorite memories of your athletic experience at UCR.
Figuring out Sue, take two. Figuring out Sue, take three.
Okay, no one said it was going to be easy. This is a video that, for lack of anything more creative, is called Figuring Out Sue, a Hall of Fame volleyball coach and true legend in our time. But why? What's made Sue so successful? At first, no one wanted to talk. Then we had a breakthrough.
She always had a lot of fun girls.
After that, the opinions just came pouring in. So then, what's made Sue so successful? Has it been her professionalism?
She was always on time and always responsible.
Completely unorganized.
So whenever Sue called Heather, I knew it was the other one.
Or perhaps her business-like appearance?
And always dressed appropriately.
The motel room, one of you dressed in a parka, the other one was in a bathing suit.
Muck-luck boots or whatever they were.
Is it being a role model?
It was tough to bitch about having to run when she was running with us.
I didn't like running that bell tower 5 or 6 times.
It was tough to bitch about having to do plyometrics or whatever when she was doing it with us.
I almost drowned.
Or her impeccable personal habits?
I do remember the one point when they brought out a champagne bottle and you were trying to grab the champagne.
You know, you're walking down a hallway and an arm would just reach out and grab you. Come in here.
6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, and Sue Gozansky was there, rolling on the floor.
I was always questioning the directions. You know, she looked a little unsure when she'd get behind the wheel sometimes, so, a little all over the place.
Many we interviewed mentioned that vision thing.
One year it was writing poems.
Not only does she write poetry, but she's not happy unless everyone else on the team is writing poetry.
She would write poems about every player on the team, what team we were playing.
We're working on this. What rhymes with this? What should go here?
By the end of the season, we're like, oh no, not another poem. Here we go.
Like all legends, Sue seems timeless.
We were sneaking around always trying to figure out how old Sue was.
I haven't looked at her lately, so I don't know.
And that's due in part to her strict dietary regimen.
Sue is notorious for eating off of your plate.
We used to call it the fork.
You wouldn't order any food and you would pick off everybody's plate and eat their food.
Sue would take her fork and say, that looks good.
So we eventually learned that about you.
Bite, bite, bite.
So then when we'd all get together and start eating, we'd all move away from Sue because she would start picking off of our plate and eating our food.
And now I do that with my team, actually.
And then the one time you ate Parmesan cheese for a meal.
But for at least one person, looking back, only one thing truly mattered.
Sue ruined our floor.
So what? If it takes a ruined floor or two to make a legend, so be it. In the end, we just had a few undeniable facts to go by.
Sue Gozansky was hired because she was a bright young lady. She came from with a great background, and when we looked over the various people applying for the jobs, why, she stood out above all the others.
Cal Poly Pomona, of course, was in the league that we played in, and Sue was their star. Any sport, whatever it was, Sue was their star. Besides, she wasn't conceited about it, and she was a very nice person and a team player, and it was very obvious that people looked up to her. And with all her enthusiasm, with her athletic ability, with her organizational skills, why not?
The volleyball team took a turn for the better. It was like essentially the rockets going off, because she seemed to be so far ahead of the other coaches that she was competing against. And the records really showed it. And we were a small Division II school, but nevertheless we were winning the league, and then we went into the national playoffs, and it was all because of Sue.
But we also had the most important thing any legend needs, a legacy of lives changed for the better. And we got lots of evidence for that.
I think she can recognize talent. She sees people that maybe are less refined than others, and she's looking for somebody to develop, and I think she's looking for more than just somebody that's a really good athlete, which I think is important.
Sue had a lot to do with a lot of changes in my life. She really did. She's an awesome coach. Diamond in the rough. That's how she was. She'd find somebody that just was okay or whatever. Attitude-wise, she was never negative. She pushed the player until, you know, to bring out the best player that you could possibly be, and that's what she did for me.
I was very fortunate when I came to school at UC Riverside that I was under the tutelage of probably one of the best leaders in women's sports, and that was Sue Gozansky. So I think when you look at her leadership style and her ability to do things, there are a lot of things that she did back then that, yeah, I look back, I have certain situations with my employees, and I use those skills today.
You know, she was very hardcore coach my first year there. She was all about, you need to get better, you need to do this is what we need to do to win. And I was lapping it up, but I was kind of missing a little bit the strokes and this, that, and the other that you get from your high school coach and your parents and all that. And she came up to me in the stands, and I remember that it just stands out to me so clearly. She just said, I just want you to know I thought you did a great job this year. And I'm going to cry right now thinking about that, because it meant so much for her to say that at the end, you know, when we had just kind of failed.
I catch him off guard and I tip like over, you know, the right side player. And one time I did it and the ref called a throw on me. And you, who hardly ever really displays all that emotion, got up and said something, and they gave you a yellow card, and that was quite a fond memory, because I thought, Sue got a yellow card over me.
We'd have games where we're beating them 15-0 and 15-3, and you would take me out, and I would just be so angry with you. And I remember sitting at the bench just like looking at you, put me back in. And you were like, I need to train up these freshmen, Lori. You kept trying to explain that to me, and I never understood it, and I was just so angry all the time about it. Now I understand it, though. I mean, you really were thinking about the teams to come, always. You know, it wasn't just the fact that, you know, we had a great team here. You were thinking future all the time.
You are a strong leader and a strong role model. And I remember when we were back in Massachusetts and Alana did pass away when we were doing that drill on the court. And we were all falling apart. The whole team was a mess. And we had a meeting in the hotel room, and I just remember how strong you were. I mean, we were all a mess. The girls are crying. We're all upset. We don't know what to do. And I remember you coming in and saying that Alana had passed away, and you were real strong, and you were a good role model for all of us at that time, and because that was a very emotional and difficult time. And we went back and we didn't know if we were going to play or not, and I think you made the right choice to, you know, make us stay there and play the match. We did really well. We didn't win, but it was another life lesson that we had to learn, that life is not always great, and there are upsets, and you have to learn and work through those upsets. And you were a very strong role model at that time, because that was hard for all of us.
This university really changed my life, and if it hadn't been for the athletics here and the coach, Sue Gozansky, when she came, it changed the face of women's athletics for this university, and I was privileged to be a part of it for a number of years. And as I've said earlier, I've tried to give back to the university big time.
Words I think of when I think of UCR volleyball, tradition and excellence, really, to tell you the truth, and just the first-class people involved with the program, not just the coaches and administration, but also the players themselves. What a bunch of really neat people that Sue and Monica are able to put together in one small locale.
Wow, that almost says it all. But there's one more thing to say.
She loves the game, and that shines through.
And we love her. So that makes it mutual, or something.